we have some weird stuff going in the NFL as Dak actually agrees to a contract. AB's back up to some shenanigans, and Tom Brady, of course, is being Tom Brady, and he's cheating again. We also got the MLB. It's back. We got some great stuff from the UFC, from UFC Vegas 3, and then we're going to preview a little bit of UFC Vegas 4, because that card is a certified banger, at least in the main event. But before we kick things off, this is episode 41 of the Fourth Long Podcast, and this week's 5-star review over on Apple Podcasts is left by My Thighs, and he says, "This show makes me moister than an oyster." All right.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate the love. Everyone, of course, you can go over to our Apple Podcast. Everything's linked. But you go over to Apple Podcasts, Fourth and Long, and leave us a 5-star review. We'll read the best one of the week. All right. Let's get rock and rolling into things, Blake. Dak Prescott. Yep. We've talked about him in the past, over like the last 10 episodes or whatever, some spread out through those. He won upwards of $35 million a year. They couldn't agree on something because the Cowboys wanted to pay him. They were actually willing to pay him the annual salary that he was asking for, but they were disagreeing on the length of the contract, whereas the Dallas Cowboys wanted something like 5-6 years. Dak only wanted something about 3 years. So we get none of those. None of those came to fruition because he just signs a franchise tag for $31.4 million. So can we call this a prove-it deal?
Absolutely. I think it's a prove-it deal for him, for as much himself than it is for the Cowboys. It's equal on both sides. He's kind of betting on himself, but I think it's a good bet considering everything that's going around. Mm-hmm. Right now in terms of the coronavirus, we don't even know if there's going to be a season that even happens potentially with the new Dr. Fauci or whatever his name is coming out and saying all that stuff.
Fauci's a dick.
Yeah, so I think he made the right decision here, signing the franchise tag, because you're guaranteed that $31.4 million, and you're also gonna just get an increase, a bump each year that it continues. I think you have up to 3 times that you can sign the franchise tag. So 2 more after this, and this by the time it gets to the third time, he's gonna be almost at $50 million per year. Like it jumps crazy.
Yeah.
So I think he's making the right move here. I think both sides are kind of winning right now. The Cowboys, they get 1 more year with Dak. Sure, and they still have their insurance policy with Dalton, and they're both kind of just feeling each other out. I think they both leave the door open for whatever can happen.
Yeah, man, I think it's a good move for the Cowboys because they actually want to lock in their future with Dak Prescott, and I don't see Dak Prescott becoming really that good of a quarterback in the future. I think it was something last year he was 7-2 against non-playoff teams. One of those losses being a blowout to the Jets. And another one, and then
happens to the best of us. Shut up.
It doesn't happen to the best of us. It just happens to the Cowboys and sometimes Raiders. And then also he was only 1-6 against playoff teams. So I'm not saying that it's fact, but I'm saying that's fact. Dak Prescott is pretty much Kirk Cousins, but Kirk Cousins can throw play action.
Wow, that's some good banter, I guess. I don't know if you're being serious or not, but
I'm being dead serious. I'd rather take Kirk Cousins than Dak Prescott.
They're close. I don't know. That's a tough one to see. But I don't think they're as bad as you're freaking pointing them out to be, though. I mean, there's some serviceable quarterbacks.
I'll take Dak Prescott in a primetime game, but in any other game that's not primetime, Kirk Cousins is the guy I'm rolling with.
See, I think I would take Dak over Kirk.
Really?
Yeah, just because new age type quarterback. Yeah, mobility, new age quarterback. Yeah, he just has a little bit more, I think, in the toolbox, so to say. Maybe not as pure of a thrower, but I think he can get it done in more ways than one. Whereas Kirk, if you get on Kirk early, he's he can turn into the crazy Kirk.
I think one thing we could agree on is both Kirk and Dak rely heavily on the good running game, and without that, they're both average at best.
I think that goes with almost any quarterback, I'd say.
except unless you're
except for
Andy Dalton
Mahomes.
and Patrick
Mahomes,
Mahomes. Yeah,
maybe Rodgers. But
Tom
I mean,
Brady, he needed one. Well, actually, the Patriots never really had a great run game.
well, they had a stable.
Yeah, it's good
It's not like
stable.
they didn't really have a one guy that did everything. They would
Mm-hmm.
just be a stable. One guy would do one thing, another guy would do another.
Jimmy G relies heavily on the run, on a running offense. We saw that in the playoffs last year. Yeah, you can make the argument. I don't know.
I
Good
think
move.
it's a
Good
good
move
deal,
for
man.
Dallas. It's a good move for Dak.
Yeah,
He's
because
getting money.
you have flexibility on both sides. You can both end it after this year if you so chose, or you could both continue after this year.
Well, the thing is, if somehow he surprises us and actually performs like he's worth $30 million a year, so that would be something. If he actually performs and he kind of sells himself more and almost proves that he's deserving of a $35 million a year contract. It's going to be really tough to prove that within one season, but any given Sunday.
Absolutely. I think this is the only move to make at this point.
Mm-hmm.
If he balls out, then he has the leverage. If he doesn't ball out, then Cowboys can cut it.
And move on to the young goat, Andy Dalton.
Yikes! 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 Hopefully not. I don't know. He's a good backup though. Give him that. He's a good backup.
He's probably calling the best backup in the NFL.
I think it's between probably him.
Cam Newton when he eventually signs.
Mariota is going to be pretty solid too.
Mm.
He's a good one.
Wouldn't be surprised Mariota's see some real playing time.
Right. Yeah. We'll see about that. See what Derek has to say about that.
Man, speaking about contracts though, a guy that always seems to somehow get his name thrown into things. It's not Kaepernick, but it's Antonio Brown. Because there's been some reports coming out of the NFL that both the Ravens and the Seahawks are interested in possibly bringing on Antonio Brown to their team. Now, first off, let's talk about the risk that you would take bringing a guy like Antonio Brown. Whereas the upside is the ceiling is huge, but that floor is really low. And so it's kind of interesting that these are the two teams that are thinking about risking it for Antonio Brown.
I don't think so. I think it definitely makes sense in terms of the Seahawks. I think that's a really good environment for anyone that's kind of troubled to go in there and see if they can get a reset. Yeah, because Pete Carroll is a player's coach. He's a guy that gets along well with his players, at least from what I've seen on the outside looking in.
Also,
and from what I've heard,
all of his players have said, even going back to his days when he was still coaching USC.
Right. So I think that would be an interesting fit. I mean, they could definitely use a playmaker like Antonio Brown on that offense. DK Metcalf, Antonio Brown, and then don't forget about Lockett too. Man, that would be
still a beast.
That would be three good receivers, man.
That trio might be able to contend with Denver's.
Denver's awful.
Hey, unless you're Chad Ochocinco, then you think they're the best in the league.
The chat is giving you guys some love. I don't know. I'll believe it when I see it. Judy's nasty. Judy's nasty.
KJ Hamler, he's a quick dude.
I don't know enough about that guy yet.
He's fast.
So
is
I'll
what
have to
he
see.
is.
You can't just be fast though in the NFL.
Oh yeah. You also have to be big as hell like DK Metcalf.
Absolutely. For the Ravens though, let's turn our attention to the Ravens now. So it's between the Ravens and the Seahawks potentially. Seahawks, I like the environment, the coaching staff. He's going to have a good leader with Russell Wilson, obviously. Good room. Whereas the Ravens, he's going to have a family member, right? He's going to have to be on his P's and Q's. He's going to be around his little cousin, which it could be a bad thing, could be a good thing. It depends on the level of respect that they have between each other and how comfortable they are with each other. So I think that could be another interesting fit. And I think him and Lamar Jackson would probably get along really well. I think I've seen them communicating on social media a little bit.
Him and Big Truss.
But the thing is like the Ravens are so close. Like we saw with the Raiders, man, one little thing can set him off and he will just go ballistic and he will create a rift. Like, yeah. Something was wrong last year. Like the Raiders we did feel an effect from that. Like we tailored our offense to fit his, specialties.
When he left a big hole in that offense.
Yeah, I mean, roles had to be redefined, you know? So you got to be ready. That's the risk you take
It's great,
with
but
this guy.
I'm not sure if the risk is really worth it for the Ravens because they were 14-2 last season. They had one bad game in which Lamar Jackson
Right.
came out and said that they underestimated the Titans. So that I mean, the Titans might have been able to win that game anyway. But when you underestimate an opponent, that definitely can have an effect on you, and it obviously did. But the Ravens are pretty much the only team in the AFC, at least right now, that could really contend with the Chiefs. And I don't think it's worth it to throw Antonio Brown into that. But if he actually brings the upside, can you imagine him and Hollywood Brown on opposing sides of the field?
Be
Literally
crazy.
taking the roof off the defense. You can't
That
keep
would
up
be
with those
so
two.
wild, man.
That's dirty. That
Oh.
is dirty, especially with the mobility of Lamar Jackson too, because you're going to have to throw out the dime package. You're going to have
And
to
they got
leave
that
it.
tight end. That
Mm-hmm.
tight end's nice
He's
too, Mark
nice,
Andrews.
and you're going to have to drop a bunch of guys back in coverage, and then that only leaves a bunch of
Mark
space.
Ingram.
That only leaves a bunch of space for Lamar Jackson to run
Lamar
around too.
Jackson runs the ball. Oh my
It's
God, it's ridiculous. If
stupid, but
only
then
if only AB
also
wasn't a head case, man.
if AP had his head on straight, oh my, he would have been signed years
He
ago.
needs he literally needs to have like a caretaker pretty
Yep,
much because he's going to implode. Like I'm not saying if, it's
it's
when.
it's a
Guaranteeing because dude, like you know how from a Raider fan that's like as invested as I am,
that has to hurt.
like
It had to hurt watching
dude,
that
that was
downfall.
like the most painful roller coaster ride to be on. Like literally all I wanted to know was like, is he gonna be on our team or not?
Right?
Because I'm so sick and tired of this. Like, why is he on Hard Knocks? Why is he getting all this featured time on my team
Mm-hmm.
that I freaking love that he has no respect for? You know, that we freaking bent over
So
backwards for him. So I'll just flat out say it. I have no respect for Antonio Brown.
it's
I am
it's
not a
hard
fan
to.
of him.
Well,
I
whether
am
you
not a fan
blame
of him.
the helmet,
I'm not rooting for
the
him.
cryotherapy, or like I say, it's Vontez perfect that we could really blame. it's it's interesting, but if it's like we said, there's a lot of risk to this. But if he actually hits the upside, and if these teams are able to control him, he could be a lethal weapon on either one of these teams. I think he'd be a better fit on the Seahawks, though.
They would need, like I said, they would need to hire a new position. Like they would need to create a new position in their
Antonio Brown,
organization.
assistant,
Antonio Brown caretaker,
caretaker,
hand
hand,
holder,
handler. Give him a handler.
like
Oh,
thought gatherer.
see,
Like
it's stupid because it sounds like a joke, but it's serious. You actually need this.
seriously, I
Ugh,
just sound salty though. So
it's okay,
I do
Blake.
agree with you. I think the Seahawks would probably be a better fit just in terms of where he would be at mentally. I think they have better structure
I think Pete Carroll would be
put
better for
together.
him. No disrespect to John Harbaugh. He's a
No, not at
phenomenal
all.
coach in his own right, but I think he'd just be better under Pete Carroll.
I just think, yeah, I think he would need to get a little out of his comfort zone too, because they're going to demand excellence for him. They have a Super Bowl. The proof is in the pudding. Whereas if he goes to Baltimore, he might get a little comfortable with his little cousin. He might get a
Mm-hmm.
little comfortable with Lamar. Who knows? Like,
Mm-hmm.
it could be a
It's
little different.
good to be uncomfortable because that probably is going to put him on a little more of a straighter path.
Yeah, Russell Wilson's a very religious guy, married with kids. Not going to
Mm-hmm.
want to be doing all that crazy shit that
Nah,
Antonio Brown
he
does.
is going to hold him accountable.
Absolutely.
And then if we want to talk about another quarterback that really likes to hold his players accountable, that's Tom Brady. And that's one hell of a segue. I'll take that. But like I said earlier, Blake, Tom Brady is cheating again.
Hmm,
A little bit. It's probably a bit of a stretch, but
this is a stretch. I like it though.
it's a stretch.
Continue.
But also, we had a few days ago.
This is just your Ross gets mad at the Patriots segment,
Not
which
even.
I fully support as a Raider fan. So
Tuck rule.
yeah, doesn't take much to get me riled up. But you know what? I can't hate on the guy. He's getting out there with his
No,
teammates.
I can hate him, but it doesn't mean I can't respect him. But a few days ago, we had the NFLPA head advisor, doctor, health administrator thing. He came out and said that players shouldn't be working out together. And so what does Tom Brady go out and do? He keeps working out with his players down with the Buccaneers. Honestly, I got nothing against this. It's just a guy. I'm sure they're taking precautions. The TB12, drinking all those vegetables and stuff like that. Corona doesn't stand a chance against the TB12 program. And so, I mean, Gronk is probably drinking enough like booze that it's just going to kill any kind of virus inside of him. So they really don't have much to worry about. I'm sure they're staying healthy, staying
He
safe.
drinks that 69 proof, and it kills all viruses on contact.
Hey. I like that. And then it's just Tom Brady getting used to his new teammates. He's a real competitor. You can't knock that about him. And
Yeah.
so I like to get mad about this. I like to poke fun, but at the end of the day, it's just a player working out with his teammates, and I have nothing against this.
Yeah, he's just doing what he's got to do. He's trying to get ready for that season.
Mm-hmm. And here's another segue. Speaking of seasons, Blake, the MLB season is going to actually happen after all my pessimism like the last month between the MLB giving something, MLBPA rejecting, the MLBPA giving something, the MLB rejecting. It's 5 to 6 owners that we talked about last week didn't even want the season to happen due to finances. But after the MLB offered a 60-game season, like pro-rate contracts and all that fun stuff, MLBPA rejected that. So what does the MLB go out and do? What does Rob Manfred go out to do, Blake? He just says, we're playing this year. We have a 60-game season, accept or not. And what does MLBPA go out and do today on the 23rd of June, a Tuesday? They go on and pretty much accept it, and they accept the health.
Pretty much accept it.
Yeah, they pretty much accepted it. They accept all the health and safety regulations and all that fun stuff. And I don't care if spring training, put that in quotes, is supposed to be starting around the 1st of July. The season is supposed to start. Opening day is finally here on the 23rd and 24th of July. And like we said, Blake, we can finally do that now. The 9 beers, 9 hot dogs, 9 innings. We're going to be able to do it.
Oh, jeez. I forgot about that.
Now I'm reminding you, you better start preparing yourself now.
9 beers, 9 hot dogs.
9 innings.
It's honestly not that bad if it's a long game.
Right? If it's about a 3-hour game. But knowing our luck, when we live stream this, it's going to be like a pitcher's duel. Like, it's going to be both teams getting no hit. So it's going to go by in 2 hours.
Yeah, we're going to choose the A's game.
Okay. I'm down with that. Let's watch some A's baseball, man. Oh, it's going to happen. The only thing that sucks is the A's almost always start out slow, and we only get a 60-game season. So what that means is that the A's, although they could be a World Series contender, probably not going to be. Probably just going to disappoint me again. Probably going to lose a 10th elimination game in a row. Because
get yourself out of the dumps, bro. Let's go. The MLB season is happening. Okay. That's the big takeaway that everyone needs to have.
We get baseball,
congratulations to all MLB fans out there, because I know if I was a big fan of that, I would be stressing. So I'm happy for all the MLB fans.
Now the interesting thing is they gave with the NBA players, the MLB gives players an option whether to opt in or not. If they don't play, there's no punishment. They just don't get paid. But they saw the option. So what I'm guessing is that there's all these minor leaguers that have either been furloughed or still lucky enough to be able to be getting a trickle of money from their major league team. So if I'm assuming that if a major league player opts out, they're just going to fill his spot with a minor leaguer. And there's no way that those minor leaguers turn down a job offer because, one, they hardly make money as it is, even with the full season going on. And two, it's not like it's hard to even get a normal job at this time, you know? So I would kind of love to see a couple of guys opt out, but then have these minor leaguers come out and then make a name for themselves. That would make for a great story.
Tim Tebow
to the Mets. I would lose my shit if Tim Tebow actually was on the Mets this year. I'd be so happy.
Let's get him out there.
Dude, what else the Mets have to lose? I mean, it's not like they're going to make the playoffs, even if it's the expanded playoffs. Might as well throw a Tim Tebow out there for the fanfare. Even though we're not able to get some jersey fans out there. Damn. Yeah, jersey sales.
Get some jersey sales.
Get the money going. All in all, I'm just so happy that we're actually going to get MLB this year. Whether it be 60 games or not, I couldn't care less. As long as we see baseball, That's what matters. That's what matters. And at least, here we go. A organization that has been back for a little bit now and is leading the way in returning to play and is showing everyone how to do it right is the UFC. And on Saturday, we had one hell of a fight night, like the third or fourth great, honestly, it might be the fifth card in a row that's been phenomenal, maybe not phenomenal, but it's been rock solid. UFC Vegas 3 was a great time. Saw a lot of good stuff either on the prelims or a really good main card as well. Some big implications for the little layer down the line, though. Blake, let me get your just thoughts around this card to start this thing off.
Yeah, it was a pretty interesting card. It kept me relatively entertained. Through the prelims, the fights that caught my eye the most were definitely the Bobby Green and Clay Guida fight. That was fun. I thought Tisha Torres looked phenomenal.
She tore it up.
I also thought, let's see who else. I thought Jillian Robertson really surprised me too against Courtney Casey.
Honestly, I think my favorite prelim fight was arguably the best nickname in the sport right now, maybe besides Andre Touchy-Feely, because I think he's always going to be the best one. But what about Justin Guitar Hero James making one hell of a mark on the UFC? He make his debut on less than a week's notice. He goes out and gets a first-round knockout.
Yeah, I was saving that boy for last because
my bad. Sorry to
knocked that guy out cold standing up. Dude. It was crazy.
Was it him with just like a straight that was just landing on the jaw?
It was, dude. It was multiple. I mean, it was like he just hit him with a flurry, and Camacho was out on his feet. It was wild. And
it's good stoppage.
It was really good. I mean, even Camacho, you could tell like stone cold look on his face afterwards. Just walked to his corner. You know, he's like, gone. Yeah, I just got messed up.
What better way to make a statement in your first UFC fight, Blake? What better way to make a statement?
He'll be back.
Oh, he'll probably be back soon, right?
Yeah, they'll probably bring him right on back.
August,
because he wasn't. Was that a catch weight or did he actually make weight?
That wasn't catch weight. He made weight for that.
Nice, good for him. He's probably fighting up a weight class then.
I think so. And man, he's probably gonna be back in August. One of the fight nights. Hell,
I'm interested.
You maybe see him on the prelims of UFC 252.
Yep. I'll tell you what, the fight a fight that got a finish, but I didn't really like it too much was that Austin Hubbard versus Max fight. Excuse me for the pronunciation. That guy was not in a UFC. He just wasn't in the UFC's caliber.
No.
It was just kind of sucky to watch. I mean, his whole game plan was like, let me see if I can get this guy to the ground, and then when he couldn't hold him on the ground, he just pretty much gave up.
What do you think about his corner though? Trying to make him fight.
I think nothing. I didn't really have too much of a problem with anything that the corner was saying. I think they know that they know their fighter, and I don't think they would try to. It's not like I forget who was saying that. It might have been Bisping or someone, but it's not like the guy was getting just absolutely rocked out there. I mean, he was taking some good shots, but
so is our position because he wasn't going to win that fight.
Not at all.
He wasn't going to win that fight. I don't think he was getting like whooped, but he definitely wasn't winning.
He was getting dominated.
But if you have a guy that like multiple times says that he wants to be done, there's no salvaging that. And it's a UFC debut, and obviously it wasn't his day. And the number one, arguably the most important role for a corner is to protect your fighter. And you just have to live to fight another day at that point. And so I'm glad it was stopped because it could have been worse. Who knows what could have happened when he went out there for the third round. I don't hate the corner for wanting to push him to fight, but also at the same time, I don't agree with their tactics.
Well, see, the thing is I don't think we're getting the full story. Is it the corner's job to go in there and step in and make the decision for him when he's still consciously in there and saying, like, yes, I want to do that? Or is it the fighter's responsibility to go out there and let them know, which is what looks like happened, and let them know, like, yeah, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. Like, why does the corner have to speak up and say, if the guy is individually on his own saying, I don't want to fight anymore, that should be all up to him to say, hey,
Maybe it's an
excuse
image.
me, mister, I don't want to fight anymore. I'm getting my ass beat.
Could be an
It shouldn't be
image
the
thing.
corner to go out there and say, oh yeah, he says he doesn't want to fight anymore. Like, miss me with that.
I'm
Miss me with
guessing
that, Ariel.
image, perception. It's like we've referred to these people as modern day gladiators, and it's might also be bad for the ego going up to the ref yourself and telling to stop. But I totally get your point.
Dude,
That is.
this is the highest level.
Mm-hmm,
Get that through get that through your head.
mm-hmm.
If this is a profession you're gonna do, if this is what you're trying to make money doing and getting notoriety through doing, you got to understand what you're signing up for. If you're not ready and you take that fight, you screwed up. You gotta own that.
Very
There's
true.
no, and I'm not saying that people should be ragging on this guy. I'm not saying
No.
any of that. I'm just saying you gotta own it. You gotta
Mm-hmm.
go and say, hey, I quit,
But also, it's
and you gotta live with being a quitter.
yeah. And if he come out and said that, I wouldn't look at him unless like Dana White has come out and said, "Who are we to judge him for that?"
Absolutely.
He still definitely has all the potential. If the
Still
UFC
beat
saw
my
potential
ass.
in him, he could come back in. It's not like this is the last time we're ever going to see him in the UFC. This season is his only opportunity. If he comes back, gets a couple more like good fights or another good fight, we could very well see him in the UFC again.
Well, he might get
He
one more
still
shot,
might be
but
under contract as well, so he might get
it's
another
very,
shot.
very unlikely. Very, very unlikely after that.
Uh, I got no ill will against him though. Also, I don't really have any ill will against his corner as well. It's just the fight game.
Yeah, I don't think his corner should have been getting shit on as bad as they were.
No, it's just a guy trying to support his fighter. One of the guys though I really like this fight. We saw a guy that we've been in contact with over Twitter, getting retweets and the such, which of course you can go find on Twitter at Fourth Long Radio. Bilal Muhammad making pretty good work of Lemon Good. So, I mean, it was 29-28 across the boards, but he looked good in that fight, and he looked like he could very well deserve a number in front of that name, if not now, maybe real soon.
I think he dominated the first two rounds, and
Mm-hmm.
he survived the third round. So
Mm-hmm.
he's got some things he needs to work on
Mm-hmm.
for sure. But yeah, overall a really, really good complete performance, I'd say. He looks well rounded
He moves up
everywhere.
to 17-3 in his professional career too.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think we're gonna be seeing him fight some higher level competition coming up here really soon.
I'm looking forward to that.
Lyman Good knocked his ass down though in that third round.
Yeah,
I thought it might be over.
he got dropped.
But he recovered really well. He
Mm-hmm.
recovered really, really well,
He
like
looked,
instantly.
yeah, really good cardio too. Like he didn't look
Uh-huh.
bad in that third round as well. But also, I loved his post fight interview with them shades on. He looked good.
And you know who else we got to give a shout out to is Jim Miller beating the slightly newcomer, I guess we could say. He's kind of a newer guy around the UFC,
Mm-hmm.
Roosevelt Roberts. I actually thought Roosevelt Roberts might piece Jim Miller up in this fight, but
He
Jim
looked
Miller
good.
exposed him and ended up getting him with an armbar, a really,
Mm-hmm.
really slick armbar that I don't think Roberts had any idea how to stop or
Oh, that
how,
was some
he
smooth
even saw it
grappling.
coming.
That was
Yeah.
smooth.
Yeah, right when Robert started going in, because I think he got a little comfortable there for a second. He started going in for some ground and pound,
Mm-hmm.
and right when he did that, Miller grabbed the arm, locked it in, and that was all she wrote, really.
Phenomenal jiu-jitsu showing off by Miller.
Great game plan.
It's good
Great game
stuff.
plan.
And before we get to the fight tonight, let's talk about the main event real quick. Curtis Blades just wrestle screwing Alexander Volkov. He easily won the first 3 rounds. The last 2 rounds were a little closer, but it was hardly a fight, honestly. And Curtis Blades did give us warning. He said that on Twitter that if we were expecting 25 minutes of stand up and trading, that we were going to be disappointed. And he's a man of his word. All we saw was just high level wrestling, in which
styles
totally
make fights.
neutralized Volkov.
Styles definitely make fights, and Blades does not have the right style to make Volkov look good.
No.
There's just no way, because Volkov is long and he's a really good
6'7", I
striker.
believe.
I
He's a big
mean,
dude.
anyone's gonna have a tough time striking against that guy, except for maybe like Struve. But I mean, he knocked Struve's ass out.
Mm-hmm. Derek
So
Lewis
Blades,
gave him
we all
issues.
knew what Blades had to do.
Mm-hmm.
We all knew what he had to do, and he did it the first 3 rounds pretty much perfectly.
Well, he
And
broke
then
the heavyweight record for most takedowns in the fight with 14, I believe he
yeah,
finished with. That's
insane,
nuts. Honestly, like,
insane.
okay, he didn't drop him. He didn't do really well on the stand-up, but to be able to get a guy to the ground 14 times in 25 minutes, damn, dude.
Yep,
It's almost 3 times around.
yep, that's domination right there, in my opinion. The only thing that wasn't the best is obviously it just wasn't the most entertaining fight.
No.
That's really the only thing that I have to say against this fight.
Mm-hmm.
And especially the fourth and fifth round, you could see Blades was fading a little bit, getting tagged a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
but nothing really to make him too over worried.
See, this whole way he was totally he used his amazing wrestling to absolutely neutralize a solid striker in that division.
Yeah,
I know he's 0-2 and he's gotten knocked out twice by this guy, but this shows
man,
signs that he might have a chance to finally be able to beat Francis Ngannou.
I don't know. That's like his kryptonite. I wish
It's
he could fight anybody besides Ngannou.
right. Well, here's my take on this, Blake. Once we get on August 11th, once we get the trilogy fight between Stipe Miocic and Daniel Cormier, we already know Daniel Cormier has come out and said a while ago that this is going to be the last fight no matter what.
All right.
And I truly believe that this also has a really good chance of this also being Stipe's last fight as well. Given the eye injuries, given the layoff of the fights, and especially if he loses, or even if he wins, just run out right onto the sunset as the greatest heavyweight in UFC history. That's because that title is on the line for this fight. They're fighting not only for the belt, but they're fighting to be called the best heavyweight in UFC history. I say that. And so, honestly, I could really see both of them being retired. And so what this opens up is Curtis Blades fighting Francis Ngannou for the vacant heavyweight title.
Man, I feels like they fought sooner than they did last time. Like the last time they fought was in 2018.
Hmm.
Why did I feel like they had fought sooner than that?
I don't know.
And the time before that was in 2016, and he got knocked out both times.
It wasn't really that close of a fight both times either. But this also doesn't look like the same Curtis Blades.
The second fight, he actually did worse.
You're right.
So, but then since then, it's
that,
like
though?
he went on a tear. I mean, beat Overeem, beat Hunt,
Oh, yeah, turned Overeem's forehead into a fountain.
beat Justin Willis. He beat Shamil Abduramakov, beat Junior Dos Santos. He beat Volkov now. I mean, the guy is not a slouch. It's crazy that he's only had his 2 losses to Francis Ngannou. For whatever reason, that's his kryptonite. A third fight between those guys, that's a kind of a tough sell, I feel like, on the UFC's end. Because, I mean, how interested is Curtis going to be in that? I mean, I'm sure he probably wants to get that back immensely.
Well,
but
you don't promote Curtis, you put like 80% of your promotion into Francis Ngannou, I guess.
But what, you're just lining him up again? I mean, that's such a tough sell. Like, yeah, we're going to get this guy lined up for a third knockout in a row.
What other fight would you make?
Yeah, that's another thing. Is there's just at the top of the division, it kind of sucks when you have these guys these styles that just don't really mesh.
It's one hell of a styles clash. That's for damn sure.
Yeah,
It's
and for whatever reason, Blades just cannot implement his game plan against Ngannou.
Shelby has one tough road ahead of him for this heavyweight division. It seems
Yeah.
like.
kind of at a crossroads right now, you know.
I think you just have to make the fight, and UFC could. I mean, with some of the video packages they made, if I could speak, they could sell almost any fight. Honestly, like, oh man, that Gaethje Ferguson package was phenomenal, and so I have a lot of faith in UFC's marketing department. I think they can make this work. But let's talk about the fight of the night, and hell, fight of the year candidate right here in the co-main, because that was Josh Emmett and Shane the Hurricane Burgos putting on one hell of a show.
Yeah, I mean that fight, everyone all leading up to this card, I feel like knew they all had that fight circled.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone knew that that was going to be the barn burner. Everyone knew that that was going to be the fight that we are going to be talking about come,
Did not
Saturday
disappoint.
night, Sunday morning. Didn't disappoint at all, man. And the craziest thing is right there in the first 45 seconds, Josh Emmett has a little stutter step, stumbles a little bit on his leg, and he's completely compromised for the rest of the fight.
I don't want to sound like anything like I'm making this up. I knew, like, when you see little stuff like that in with knees, as soon as he did that, I knew it's probably ACL.
Yeah, something's not right,
No.
And especially you could tell because he was really just throwing, for the most part, just hooks, jabs maybe.
And you could see a buckle every now and then as well.
I don't know how he was doing it and throwing as hard as he was. I mean, I can't tell you, there was probably 5 or 6 times during that fight where I literally was not even at just the hit, like the impact of the hit, but just the speed of his freaking arm and his hand going through the air. I just don't really see that many people punching like that in the UFC.
Well, the combination of power and speed and precision that Josh Emmett possesses is insane. But of course, let's give a lot of credit to head striking coach of Team Alpha Male, Joey Rodriguez, who we interviewed. You should go check that out over on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere else you get your podcasts. There's my plug.
Good job, Ross.
Carry on, Blake.
Yeah, I mean, so let's get into the fight a little bit. The first couple rounds after that injury, I thought that was going to really be a big factor in this fight. And I think everyone's surprised, it didn't seem like it had that major of an effect.
He played
especially
it off really well,
in terms
like
of the result.
Some kind of Thiago Santos kind of stuff going on right there.
I mean, didn't even really play it off, but just accepted it, I would say. He was just like, fuck it, like, my leg's fucked. I know it's fucked. But Burgos didn't really attack it that much. I mean, he threw a couple out there, I guess.
Got a couple leg kicks. He was
but
going with that.
I don't know if that's maybe just not his game. I don't really know.
The chin on Shane Burgos, though, because
Yeah.
If it was anyone else, they probably would have been knocked out 3 times in that fight.
Yeah, I mean,
Emmett was landing clean, and he was landing huge shots right on the jaw of Shane Burgos.
I think something that definitely helped Burgos out too, though, is his compromised leg, Josh Emmett's compromised leg. Maybe if he could pivot completely, and really sit and throw on those punches like he normally is able to, he might have been able to get that knockout.
Is it bad? I kind of have this viewpoint on this. Honestly, I think that this torn ACL could very well be a blessing in disguise for Josh Emmett, because this was his only injury. He had like some femur damage. He had like broken stuff in his hand and ankles. He hasn't been healthy for a bit, and he's just been toughing out and fighting through a lot of this stuff. And so what we're going to see, he might take a hit in the rankings, but we're going to be able to see he's probably going to be out around 9 to 10 months with this. But he's going to be able to let everything else heal, and he's going to be able to hopefully, I guess, refine like the kind of the stuff that he's lacking a little bit. I guess maybe get a little more detailed with this stuff. He's probably not going to be able to do as much striking. He could, with recovery, he's going to allow a little more time on the mat and less in stand-up. So who knows? We might be able to see Josh Emmett back and better than ever at the end of this recovery.
I hope so. I don't know if it's necessarily a blessing because he's not able to feed his family now. He can't schedule a fight for however long it's going to take him to recover. He can't even train the way that he needs to prepare. So
that really like that, bro. I'm just trying to be positive right now.
And not to mention, because I'm a big Josh Emmett fan. A couple years ago when he fought Jeremy Stevens, and he got that broken orbital bone in his face, like, man, that took him out for a while too. So it just seems like he finally is coming back, getting back, into a great rhythm, getting these nasty KO victories, beating these stud up and comers. And then, boom, torn ACL. That sucks. That takes all the momentum out of the sail. Because this guy, after this Burgos fight, I guarantee you, man, he was going to be fighting probably top 6. Top 5 at least. Yeah, top 6, 5, top 6. Because I think that was like basically a contender eliminator.
Pretty much. I feel bad for him, though, because he just can't catch a break. But, thoughts out to him. Hopefully he does come back.
As a stud, man. That guy's a superstar.
Hopefully he comes back. His next fight is just another clean knockout and just puts his career right back on track. I guess that's the best we can hope for out of this.
I'd love to see him fight like a Korean zombie or something like that. That'd be insane.
Korean zombie's probably going to be up the ranking, or he might drop it a little bit. Ooh.
We'll see
There's a
when that
lot
Ortega
that
fight
can happen in
happens.
that featherweight division.
That Ortega fight's going to be wild.
Oh, it's going to be so damn good. I can't wait.
Right?
But UFC Vegas 3 was awesome. UFC Vegas 4, once this main event got announced, oh boy, I was so ready for this. Even though, to be fair, Dan Hooker did not win his last fight. He did not. Well, at least he shouldn't have. Paul Felder really won that fight. But if we're going off the rankings or in the actual what happened, he won that fight. But man, Poirier and Hooker is going to be a slugfest. Certified slugfest.
I agree. I think that's going to be a really entertaining fight. The card top to bottom,
It's not some
not
good
the
stuff in
not
the
the
prelims.
strongest, just off terms of like name power, I would say.
I want to see Felipe Lins making his second fight in the UFC. He lost his first fight about a month or so ago against teammate Andrei Arlovsky, the Pitbull. But that was also a split decision that could have gone his way. So I'm interested to see how he follows up that fight and see if he can get that first win in the UFC.
I mean, really on the prelims, the only fight I'm really interested in is Violent Bob Ross, Luis
Bob
Pena.
Ross. Yes.
And I don't really know too much about his opponent, so I'm gonna have to do some digging on that. But that's really it for the prelims.
But of course, like if we go back to UFC Vegas 2, we had no expectations for that card, and it exceeded everything. So
Yeah, sometimes it's better to be like that, you know?
right? It's good because like if it just exceeds the expectations again, I would not be shocked if this just goes out and blows different minds again. I'm really excited to see Luis Pena because he's a fun dude to watch. Then to be fair, if we're talking about name power, we don't really get much in the main card until we get to the co-main with Platinum Mike Perry and Mickey Gall with a really solid welterweight bout. I love Mike Perry at the welterweight division.
Hey, you know what, dude? John Vellante and Maurice Green. Maurice Green was on The Ultimate Fighter.
Did Maurice Green was he the one that got smoked by the wife beater?
By who's the wife beater?
Dallas Cowboys dude. Come on now.
Oh, by Greg Hardy? No,
Yeah.
I don't think they fought yet.
I thought there was a Green in there.
Maurice Green hasn't fought him yet. The last guy that he fought was Olenek, and he got submitted.
That's right. His name was also.
He's on a 2-fight losing streak.
Oh, was
so
that
this is a big
the
fight for
UFC
him.
256? Or sorry, 246.
Yeah,
and
yep.
myself with that one.
Yeah,
but that was,
it's all good.
256. It's gonna be interesting, but also heavyweights are always fun, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I'm looking forward to that. And then also I'll put you onto this as well.
Okay.
Middleweight.
Put me on.
Brendan Allen versus Kyle Daukaus. I don't know too much about Kyle Daukaus, but he's got an undefeated record.
It's hard to see.
Brendan
He has a black and white picture on the UFC website. That's kind of a bad sign.
Right. But Brendan Allen, I'll tell you this. That guy is a stud. That guy is a stud. I saw him on the I believe it was Dana White Contender Series coming up, and he beat someone up on there, gets the contract. And then his first couple fights, October 18th, 2019, he goes in there and submits Kevin Holland. And then Saturday, February 29th, UFC Fight Night 169, the Benavidez versus Figueiredo card. He TKO'd Tom Breese. So this guy's got a little bit of hype going in behind him, and he's going to fight another guy that isn't, probably not going to give him too much of a challenge.
You're making me a little excited about this one now, Blake. We'll see if that's a
got
mistake
you.
or not. But what about, Mike Perry, Mickey Gall? This is going to be one hell of a fight, too. This is
I will tell you, though, just to give you one little tidbit, I believe Brendan is more of a little bit more of a grappler, more of a ground and pound type of guy. I don't know how developed his striking is yet, and
I
that's
love some nice
from
GMP.
what I remember.
GMP is fun.
So we'll see. Hopefully he's developed, because the last time I remember hearing about that was probably like a year ago. Okay. So it could have changed by now. Let's go into this co-main though.
Give me your take on the co-main. I'm expecting a knockout and sparks to fly.
I think if it's gonna be a knockout, it'll be on Mike Perry's side. Like Mike Perry would knock out Gall, but I could definitely see Gall finding a way to submit him. Because Perry, I mean, if it's true, if he's only taking his girlfriend into the corner with him, I think
he actually.
That's the rumor.
Heard the rumor.
So I think that's just stupid, dude. Because at this high of a level, like it's so nice. I would think to have guys in your corner that have been battle tested that are gonna let you know when you're in certain positions. Just kind of like that reassuring
Mm-hmm.
at least voice to just let you know like yeah you're doing the right thing. You're
That's a
you're
curious
you know
decision. I mean, his girlfriend is even going to be able to give him water and ice his back at the same time. Come on now.
yeah. It's very interesting. I'm sure he's probably just putting on a little bit of a front,
I
but
hope so.
Mike Perry is a character. He's a psychopath. I hope he's all right mentally. I'm
Hmm.
not one to judge a book by its cover like that,
You
but
did judge Antonio Brown heavily.
well, the proof is in the pudding with that guy. Mike Perry, I still don't really know what is an act with him and what's
Hmm.
real life. So it's kind of
That's
hard for
fair.
me to say with that guy. But I hope the best because he's an entertaining fighter. I don't really remember ever seeing a fight besides maybe the Cowboy fight that was
Hmm.
trash to watch. So he goes in there and he throws down. Hopefully Mickey Gall's going down and he wants to throw down too because I'm thinking Gall's gonna want to get him to the ground as
Yeah.
fast as possible.
Hopefully, I want to see more of a stand up. Honestly, no bias, but I want to see Mike Perry do
Oh
something
yeah,
because the dude's
we're
entertaining.
Perry boys here.
Yeah,
We can say that.
let's go platinum. Like I have obviously have a bias against Team Alpha Male because of Joey Rodriguez. Go check that interview. And
Jesus.
this main event that you should I had like 10 plugs in episode 40, which you can go check out on
Oh
Apple
my God.
Podcast, Spotify, anywhere
I'm
else you
so
get your
sorry for everyone
podcasts.
listening.
I'm not. Unapologetic. Now we see Dan Hooker after his fight against Paul Felder. He breaks into the top 5. We have a contender in Dustin Poirier. Dustin Poirier wins his fight. We could very well see the rematch with Habib, or he's going to be fighting. Uh, he's going to be.
There's too many ors. You
Yeah.
just you got started on it now. Is or Connor
Or
or
Connor.
Tony
Or
or
see the rematch
or
with
Gaethje if
Connor.
Gaethje
We see
wins.
Tony once Gaethje dethrones Khabib Nurmagomedov. It
Too
doesn't.
much. Too much. So Dan Hooker, I'll tell you this. I saw an interesting tidbit. Gosh, I wish I could remember who it was on Twitter.
Hmm.
But someone was tweeting out that basically anytime anyone that beat Paul Felder and beat in air quotes, they have lost their next fight.
Mm.
Facts. Go and
Mm.
check it. Go and check it.
Dan
And
Hooker's
it was
losing.
wild. Like, I should have saved that damn tweet from earlier, man,
Also,
because
dude, you got bookmarked that stuff, you amateur.
I know I'm an
Jeez,
amateur for that
Brian,
one.
come on now, you filthy casual.
I'm a cash for that.
I really do think Dustin Poirier is not going to have his way with them. I'm worried that it's going to be too. I'm worried that this is too big of a spot for Dan Hooker at this point in his career. I think maybe this is 1 or 2 fights too early for him. And Dustin Poirier is a veteran dude. He has plenty of experience underneath his belt. Really high level guy. We saw him. He was honestly a guard pass away from submitting Nurmagomedov back last year. And so it's going to be interesting to see Dan Hooker try to step up to this.
I disagree in
Mm.
you saying that it's too early.
Okay, you think this is
I
a good
think
time?
this is the time. Like if he's that high level, he's that high level. If he's not, then he's not.
Okay.
This is where he's gonna come and show out. He's got to make a statement here. Man, I'm not having any luck finding this tweet, unfortunately.
Shame. It's
But
okay. We trust you.
it had all of his losses written out. And like that guy, his next fight, L's, every single one of them.
Paul Felder curse.
Paul Felder curse, the Irish Dragon curse, man.
Dude. Hey, Paul Felder has a lot going for him. What do you think on this one, though? Who is going to be the one to actually take this fight?
Man,
Put you on the spot. Who's winning?
this is this is a tough one.
It kind of
This is a tough one. I'm gonna have to go with Poirier.
I'm taking the experience. And also, I just think Dustin Poirier is a better fighter than Hooker. Of course, Hooker
I'm
can really surprise us all because he has power, and so he could really land a knockout any bit. But
Yeah,
Dustin Poirier, he's more technical. He has a higher kind of just skill set than Dan Hooker does, and I think he's going to use that to his advantage come Saturday.
Yeah, I just think Dustin's a little more high level at this point, but I think it's going to be such a good fight.
Yes.
That's going to be
I'm
so
not trying to
interesting.
discount Dan Hooker. It's going to be a great fight, no matter what.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and everyone knows that, man. Everyone knows this is high level right here. This is probably for the number 3, number 2 contender,
It
honestly,
could be.
like probably like right behind Connor and Tony maybe.
It's stupid that we still have to say behind Conor, even though he's retired for his fourth time in 3 years and
Yeah.
hasn't hardly fought, but he's still up there in the rankings for some reason.
I just wish they'd get him a fight, man. Like I thought we were getting a Connor season,
If
you
we were,
know?
if
Why doesn't he clean out the lightweight division like he cleaned out the featherweight division? That would put so much more respect on his
scared,
name. It's so much more
Conor
risky.
McGregor is scared.
I know it's so much more risky, but man, if you're getting paid that much money per fight, shoot.
Shoot, he's making the money, but he retired in air quotes, and so I guess you have to honor that until he comes out of retirement in a month, when a bigger fight comes out for him. But it's going to be a great card. I cannot wait for UFC Vegas 4. And then right after that, we're going to get UFC 251. And then
That's going to be crazy.
It's going to keep 3 title fights. Of course, we're going to have our own full preview dedicated to that because it's going to be off the rocker. And
oh my gosh.
I've been saying this for weeks now, but it still holds true. This is one of the best times ever to be a fan of mixed martial arts and the UFC.
It really is. It's unprecedented access, I think, to what with them pairing up with ESPN. ESPN's production quality is just
it's better than Fox.
Yeah, way better than Fox, way better than Spike.
I just love having UFC main event on ESPN a bunch because there's been some really high quality fights. Like last night, I watched Stipe and Overeem. I spent first 2 hours of my Saturday shift when I was supposed to be working. I was watching UFC. I spent 4 of my 7 hours of a shift watching UFC. Thank you.
Yeah, that's not bad.
No, it's not bad at all.
Also, not to mention, just we're in the age of smartphones and everything being digital and all pretty much. Look at Sean O'Malley. I have to bring up. You know, I got to bring up Sugar. Once per episode. Just look at what he's doing. Look at the model that he's creating. He's got a Twitch channel. He's streaming. He's got his Instagram where he's making money off ad revenue
and
every
show possible.
Sponsorships. He's got his own podcast. His own YouTube channel where he puts out his own content. He's got a Patreon. I mean, you've got these fighters are their own business now. You know, like they can do so much just behind the power of their name and like their performances. So it's a great time. Honestly. Like you said, it is probably the best time to date to be a fan of mixed martial arts in general. I mean, not even just the UFC. I mean, there's so much at the tip of your fingers now. It's whereas back in the day you had to get like VHS tapes, like
it was exchange. It's not nearly as underground anymore.
Now it's like it's mainstream. We're to the mainstream now, baby.
We're getting close. We're not there yet.
Dude, it's overtaking boxing, man. It's consistently number one.
Man, I have friends that keep on coming to me. Hey, I'm getting to the UFC. I'm like, thank you. And then I give them a list of
Why would
stuff
you not?
to do.
You're fucking watching, excuse me, you're watching people punch each other in the face.
Who doesn't want to see that? Well,
and people honestly, that get mad about fights that are boring, like, I mean, God, just calm down, bro. Like, you're going to see someone punch someone in the face. Like, that's why I get so,
come on now.
Like come Thursday and Friday, dude, anytime that it's a fight week, I'm so juiced. I'm like, hell yeah.
It's a great time to be a fan, dude. It's a fantastic time to be a fan. And with this, we have less than 2 weeks until we see Yas Fight Island. Yas Fight Island, baby. Blake, less than 2 weeks till Fight Island. Let's go.
Yeah, we need to get a press pass. Get over there.
Hey, hook us up. Hey, everyone, just keep on adding. Dana White.
Hey, Dana White responded to you, bro. So
hey, Dana White responded to me. Anything's possible.
With he's bringing the schmo.
That's going to do it. Check out Twitter. Check out the Instagram. Everything's going to be linked. Check out www.thefourthandlong.com. We are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere else you can get your podcast. And we will catch you guys at Fight Island soon.